Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk about how to build chords. If you need a refresher on how to build a major scale or anything like that, I suggest you check out my basic music theory video, which I'll put a link in here and down in the description. But otherwise, let's get started. We begin with our chromatic scale, which gives us all 12 of our available notes. We then choose one of those notes as our 1. Starting on that note, we go through our major scale pattern of whole steps and half steps, or tones and semitones, to get all the other notes in that scale. Once we have all the different notes of our major scale, we can play them one after another to make melodies and lead lines and that sort of thing. But what we're going to look at today is what happens when we start to combine those notes together. One of the most common chords that gets played on guitar, especially in any kind of rock or metal music, is a power chord. And it's not even actually technically a chord. It's what we get when we combine our 1, which is also called our root note, and our 5th tone of our major scale. So a 1 and 5 will give us a 5th harmony, but instead of calling it that, almost everybody just refers to it as a power chord. So a harmony is what you get when you combine your root note with one other note, and a chord is what you get when you combine your root note with 2 other notes. Because chords are built out of 3 different notes, oftentimes they're called triads. It also probably has something to do with musicians' inability to not have like a million names for every single thing. That power chord that we were talking about a moment ago, that combination of our root note and our 5th, is a really strong foundation that we end up building all of our chords off of. The 2 most common chord types are major chords and minor chords. So let's look at those first. To build a major chord, we have our root and our 5th, and then we add a 3rd tone to that. So our root, 3rd, and 5th give us a major chord. To make a minor chord, we start again with our root and 5th, but this time we add a flat 3rd. That flat 3rd is 1 note lower, which is also referred to as 1 half step or 1 semitone lower than our normal 3rd. It's not uncommon for the 3rd tone of our major scale to be referred to as a major 3rd, and for our flat 3rd to be referred to as a minor 3rd, because of the types of chords they help create. Instead of using a 3rd or a flat 3rd to build a chord, we can start again with our root note and our 5th, and we could add either a 2nd tone or a 4th tone to make a suspended chord. Our root 2nd tone 5th will give us a suspended 2 chord, and our root 4th tone 5th will give us a suspended 4 chord. As a quick side note, a lot of times when people are writing out chords for a song or a quick chord chart for something, they'll end up writing some chord sus and then leaving out whether it's a 2 or a 4, so sometimes you just have to take a second to figure out which one fits. Let's try to figure out some A chords. So it's important to remember that whenever you're trying to figure out a chord, you always want to start with that root note's major scale. So if you want to figure out how to play an A chord, you start with an A major scale. Since we've chosen A as our 1, we'll move a whole step from A to B, whole step from B to C sharp, half from C sharp to D, whole from D to E, whole from E to F sharp, whole from F sharp to G sharp, and another final half step to bring us from G sharp back to A. So that'll give us all of the notes for our A major scale. So now let's just combine some of those notes. So if we take our 1, our A, our root note, and combine that with our 2nd tone, B, and then our fifth tone, E, that will give us an A suspended 2 chord. Our 1, 2, 5 gives us A, B, and E. If we want a minor chord, we start again with A as our 1, then add a flat third, so our C sharp note would get flatted or move back or lower 1/2 step and become a C. So we would have an A for our 1, and a flat third would be C, and then we would add our fifth to that, which is E. So A, C, and E give us our 1, flat third, and fifth. To make a major chord, we use our 1, A, our third, which is C sharp, and fifth, which is E, to have a 1, 3, 5 for our major chord. And for a suspended 4 chord, we would have A as our 1, our fourth tone, D, and our fifth tone, E, our 1, 4, 5, A, D, and E. Let's take a look at how we actually tend to play these on the guitar. So here is a standard A major chord that you're probably used to seeing. On the left of the chord chart, our sixth string has an X over it because we generally don't play that as part of our A chord, even though that E note fits in that A chord. The main reason for that is our lowest bass note tends to be one of the things that our ear focuses on, and if we have that low E in that A major chord, it tends to kind of overpower things and take things over. So to keep that from stealing the spotlight, we make our fifth string, which is our A string, our lowest bass note, so that kind of stays the focal point. So moving right from there, our fourth string, we play the second fret, and that gives us our E note, or our fifth tone. Then on our third string, we play second fret, giving us another octave of our A. So it's just kind of reinforcing that and filling that out a little bit. Then on our second string, we get our third tone, which is our C sharp on the second fret. And then on our first string, we play that one open as well, and we get another octave of our fifth, which just, again, kind of fills things out. With this chord shape, we only have our third tone being played on our second string. So when we play a different type of chord, say an A minor, we play that flat third note to build our A minor chord on our second string. It just happens to be on first fret to give us a flat third instead of second fret to give us a major third. That means we can get an A suspended 2 by playing our second string open for a B note, or we can play first fret on our second string to get a C note there to get a flat third, giving us an A minor chord, or we can play our normal third or major third, our C sharp note on the second fret, giving us an A major chord, or we can play on the third fret of our second string, giving us a D note, which is the fourth tone of our scale, giving us an A suspended 4 chord. Now's a good time to mention, while we just looked at a lot of really specific stuff to build A chords and all of the specific notes that you need to do that, I wouldn't really worry too much about memorizing all of the different notes that go into every single chord you play. It's certainly not a bad thing to know, but you'll build it up over time the more you use it and the more you get comfortable with it. Don't worry about trying to like brute force make yourself memorize all these things. The important thing to remember is how to build a major scale and how to take the different tones of our major scale to build these different chords that we want. So don't worry so much about trying to have every single note memorized along the way. There are two other triads to mention here. They're not as common as your major or minor or suspended 2 or suspended 4, but they're worth knowing. One is our diminished, which is going to be a root and flat third, just like a minor chord, and then a flat fifth. And the other is an augmented triad, which is our 1 for a root, a 3, just like we would have in a major chord, and a sharp fifth. Thanks for watching. I really hope you found that helpful. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, please like and subscribe so that you can see more videos as I'm able to make them. And if you really like this and really found it helpful and you want to help support the channel, please feel free to check out amethystguitars.com. I have a small business where I build guitars by hand and sell them. And I also have a Patreon going as well for anybody that's interested in checking that out. All the links should be down below. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next one.